We had the earnings out after the bell yesterday. Solid report. Let's break it down a little bit. Start with the United States. How did you do in same-store sales, and how much was traffic, and how much was the price being charged?
Yeah, well, first of all, David, we had another solid quarter. Our growth at scale agenda is really about delivering predictable, sustained results. And this was another quarter that reflected that. In the U.S., we grew our same-store comparables 4%. And the interesting thing that underlies that is we actually saw sequential improvement and a slightly positive growth in transaction comp, which is a key part of it. So, very little of that comp, typically price is 1% to 2%. The rest has been driven by slightly positive transaction comp and then great premiumization and attach.
Well, and when you talk about that transaction comp, how much of that is the changes you're making in the menu? You're shifting over, for example, to cold beverages, including the nitro cold brew that I understand you're going to have to 100% of the United States this year.
Yeah, we are a beverage-first company, so the beverage innovation we drive is a key part of the agenda. And if you look at what we've done over the last few years now, cold beverage represents a little bit over 50% of our beverage mix versus hot. And certainly our cold brew and our nitro cold brew are key drivers of that. We now have nitro cold brew in 50% of our Starbucks stores in the U.S. with plans to get fully deployed by the end of this fiscal year. So nitro cold brew is a big part of that. But we've also innovated around our espresso platforms as well. The Cloud Macchiato we launched last month has had a phenomenal response. And so beverage innovation is a key part of what drives not only ticket, but it also is what's driving that continued improvement in transactions.
As you say, it's about the beverage. It's also about how you get the beverage. Obviously, you've moved online. You can order now online. How much has that improved your performance? And for that matter, are you going to delivery?
Yeah, well, clearly in the retail segment today, the two transformative elements of modern-day retail are experiential retail in your stores extended to a digital mobile relationship. And through our Starbucks Rewards program, we now have seen significant growth in the active rewards members. This year, or this quarter, we posted a 13% growth in active rewards members to 16.8 million in the U.S. And our rewards members accounted for roughly 41% of our total tender in the U.S. We've expanded beyond mobile order and pay to enable Starbucks Delivers. We now have Starbucks Delivers in the U.S. in roughly 1,600 stores, continuing to grow, continuing to learn, continuing to tune that experience to customers to deliver, a Starbucks quality delivery experience. So delivery, mobile order, and digital is a big part of our agenda.
So Kevin, it's not just about North America, obviously. It's also about China, which has been a very big driver for you. For us, take us into what your experience is in China now. Where are you going in China? How much of your growth there is adding stores, and how much of it is more sales in the existing stores?
Well, certainly China is our second largest and fastest growing market in the world. The U.S. and China are the two priorities that we've called out strategically. This quarter in China, we grew our store footprint by 17%. And we're on a path to build 600 new stores in China every year. And of the growth that we've seen in new stores, those new stores are performing financially, better than prior generations. So great reception to the new store growth. But in addition, our same-store comparable in China accelerated and grew at a 3% annual basis. So we're super pleased with the fact that we're seeing continued comp growth in our existing stores, and then you complement that with a 17% in new store growth in China. The total transaction growth that we're seeing is significant, and so we're very pleased with that.
Imitation is a form of flattery. You have a competitor in China now, Luckin. How is that affecting your business? How do you expect it to affect it going forward, particularly on margins?
Well, David, we've always had many competitors since Starbucks was founded 48 years ago, and now we are at over 30,000 stores globally. We've always had a lot of competitors, and certainly China is no exception to that. The fact that there's a large and growing addressable market for coffee in China means that we expect more competitors to come into that market. Certainly for Starbucks, we've been in China for 20 years, and we really understand what makes a differentiated experience. The combination of what we do in our stores, the quality of our coffees, the handcrafted nature of our beverages that are personalized to our customers, And the connection that our Starbucks partners make with customers is very important. You put all of that together, we've now extended that experience in our stores to a digital mobile relationship. You recall we signed a China digital partnership agreement with Alibaba that was announced last August. And so the digital reach that we're getting in China is significant as that partnership continues to expand. So, we feel very good about the experience we're creating in our stores, the performance of those stores, same store comparable, and the digital reach that we get in China. So, I think we're well positioned for long-term growth in that market.
We don't hear as much about Europe. Tell us about the Nestle distribution deal. How's that coming?
Yeah, our Global Coffee Alliance with Nestle is a significant one because it brings the Starbucks brand to food services, to CPG channels, and it brings Starbucks coffee on the Nespresso and Dolce Gusto platforms. Just in March, we announced the first 24 Starbucks SKUs on the Nespresso, Dolce Gusto platforms. And Nestle in this first wave is now bringing Starbucks to 16 new markets around the world. That will unfold through September, and then in the next wave, we're going to another 31 new markets. Nestle's significant. They've got 5 million points of presence in just about every market in the world. And so our partnership with them is really anchored around coffee. It's anchored around a common set of values, and it is really leveraging the Nestle reach and the strength to bring Starbucks coffee to retailers, mass merchants, food services, and on the world's most popular single-serve platforms with Nespresso.
So, Kevin, finally, you've got a remarkable position there as head of Starbucks. It strikes me that there's one thing that's almost unique about you, which is that you have a predecessor who's thinking about running for president. I'm not going to ask you to endorse or not endorse anybody, but from your experiences of running Starbucks and knowing Howard Schultz pretty well, what qualities does a CEO have that might actually help in the White House?
Well, look, Howard transitioned from Starbucks last year, as you pointed out, David, and my focus, the leadership team here at Starbucks, we're staying very focused on running the business of Starbucks. We're very pleased with this quarter, and as the United States gets into this presidential cycle, we've been pretty clear that we stay focused on the business of Starbucks, and we'll let citizens comment on who they think ought to be president and why.